8 rounds into 2023 season number 2. That means drop weeks begin after this evening. We're here at the Caffeine and Octane Lanier Raceway, a brand new name for a classic here on the iRacing.com service. Glad you're joining us at Pits.tv. This season has been a pleasure as always with Elite Performance Industries. I had to think there for a second, Zach, but it's good to have you as we open up here at Lanier Raceway. It's weird. I've called this thing Lanier Raceplex for so long, and now I have to get used to calling it Lanier Raceway. Let's take a look at where Lanier is. Well, it's right across the street from Road Atlanta down in Braselton, Georgia. A really, really rich piece of earth as far as racing goes. A lot of racing pedigree in this very small area. You can see the Lanier National Speedway, as it's still called on iRacing. They got to catch up a little bit, but good to be here, Zach. Round 9. This means, again, as I said, drop weeks coming in after this week.
Definitely, and so many great things about Lanier, honestly. It may look like a little bit of an eyesore on the graphic we have on screen, but the pit lane is a little bit tricky, so you have to enter in turn 4. You enter in turn 4, you come around what seems like a small infield oval, and then you come out in turn 1. It's a very interesting pit road, I'm not going to lie, especially if your pit stall is on the back straightaway of pit road. So I know Lanier's not like that anymore. It's changed a little bit, but you know, it's a great track, especially when you've got a lot of good drivers in the field tonight for point standings. Alex McCullum is your points leader, but Andrew, we were just talking about it. He is not here tonight.
Not in the session, and it's really interesting. Ryan Kuhn finally up and over 100 wins, 106 now as he's got 121 starts. Take a look there at the points. We'll talk more about these as the evening goes on. Ryan Kuhn, though, will start this evening's race from pole. As you can check out the weather conditions there at the top of the screen, 82.8 degrees in the air. Boy, is it a warm night in Braselton, Georgia. 84 degrees on track. That feels a bit like next month or so, June. That feels a bit accurate to that. But let's take a look through our starting order. Ryan Kuhn on pole. That means Landon Rapp will start from second place. Starting in third, it will be car number 12, Caleb Hall, from the inside of row number 2. Michael Joel Smith will start from 4th position. Starting from 5th is Jackson Lewis. Kendrick Cryer will start from the 6th spot in row 3. Starting from 7th is Justin Crow. 8th, Kyle Terzak. To round out your top 10, how about Blake Thronberg and Spencer Dickinson? A few at the back, you've got Mark Blessing and Chase Williamson, Matthew Boniface and James Jackson, and finally, Ryan Doucette, rounding out our field. Again, it's good to be here. Let's check out our race details. It's a 50-lap race. Open setup, no cautions, 1 fast repair, and Ryan Kuhn is ready to lead us to the green flag. Waiting on the flagman, and there we go, green flag at Lanier. One lap complete, big crash. We've got one up on their side, and no cautions here. Wow. That is a big one for a couple of these drivers in the back. Thronberg, Dickinson, a couple of really big EPI guys involved in this. Terzak, oh boy, really, really big hits for some of those guys in the back. Another lap complete for the guys up front. Here's the battle for the race lead. We'll take a moment before we go back and get that replay, but you see Ryan Kuhn, Landon Rapp, Caleb Hall, Jackson Lewis, usual suspects out front.
You've got Joel Smith right there with Kendrick Cryer and Ryan Doucette, or Doucette. I keep mispronouncing his name. I'm sorry. Thank you, Doucette. They're all just sitting back there waiting for something to happen. You can see that Landon Rapp and Ryan Kuhn have gotten out to a bit of a steady lead, as the rest of the field is just another about 3-4 seconds back from these top 5 drivers.
Back down into turns 3 and 4. Landon Rapp right on the back end of Ryan Kuhn, who's got so many wins this season, working on another here. Before we lose too much time, it's a 60-lap race, apparently, not 50. The iRacing schedule, I think, might have lied to me, but let's go back and I guess a little bit further maybe and check out what happened there on the green flag. So, well, and this is pacing. This is why it gets a little bit difficult for us to find the exact time. ATVL might... It's a little interesting trying to find when to pick a crash, but here we go. Landon Rapp, car 28. This is up front. The crash happens right around Thronberg there, I think, in the 22 car. This is down to turn 3. I think that's Mark Blessing on the back end of Thronberg, and yeah, sure enough, it actually starts with Crow and Terzak, and that was big.
Yeah, just nowhere to go for some of these guys.
And we're going to come back live. Ryan Kuhn has just lost the race lead. He's back here racing with Caleb Hall. You can see it live on your screen. Landon Rapp on through to the top spot. And, oh boy, Zach, was there contact?
Not really quite sure, Andrew. It's just so interesting to see Ryan Kuhn just lose the lead like that.
We're going to find out if there was contact. Ryan Kuhn leading here. This is a couple of laps ago, about 1 minute ago, from live picture. There's Thronberg out of the pit lane. It happens down here in turn 3, it looks like. Does Landon Rapp just get the best of him? Or is there contact? Maybe. Nothing happened there. I guess it happens down here in turn 1, maybe. And sure enough, Landon Rapp just gets the best of Ryan Kuhn. That's rare.
And just got a really good run there, and he was able to show the nose, pop in there, and just take the spot away. Ryan Kuhn trying to do everything he can, though, to make sure he does not lose that second place position.
You saw there Caleb Hall just got to the inside of him as well. Got the pass made briefly, but now Kuhn back ahead of Caleb Hall. And for the first time, we might see Landon Rapp straight up best Ryan Kuhn. We've seen a lot of great runs this season out of Landon, but nothing like this. Nothing where he just got the best of Ryan and was able to go on by. I think back to Pensacola, 5 Flags, where they ran nose to tail, door to door, side to side, lap after lap after lap for probably, I'm going to say 30 or so laps of that race, maybe a little less. Some of the best racing we've seen in the late models in a long time on iRacing for sure.
Absolutely, and Ryan Kuhn is just, he's been so strong all season, just trying to hang on, see what he can do, but Landon Rapp has walked out to almost a half-a-second lead. As we still look at this battle with Joel Smith, he's in the bit of a sandwich right here, just trying to see if he can find a way around of Jackson Lewis while trying to hold off Kendrick Cryer, but you know, it's just so difficult. These cars so grippy and always wanting to stay on the bottom lane. You lose any ground on that top side, and it is going to be difficult for you to get it back.
Problems here for Matthew Boniface. He loses the spot to Mark Blessing in the 77 car, who goes on by for 9th. Meanwhile, as you mentioned, right at the back end of this top 6-7 car battle, it looks like. Actually, it's top 6, but the last car in line here is Blake Thronberg, who has taken his fast repair and is now right behind these leaders. But here's the onboard, Kendrick Cryer. Oh, so good this season. He's had a couple of moments, I won't lie. Think back to North Wilkesboro round 1, where some interesting things happened, but he has always been in or around the top 5. I can't discount him there.
Absolutely, and you can just see how patient he's being. He's not really getting up on the bumper of Joel Smith, just giving him room and seeing what he can do with these tires to save him and hold on to him there at the end. You still got 40 laps to go in this race, a lot of time to make some moves as we ride on board here with Jackson Lewis, excuse me. And yeah, you can just see how these guys are just trying to be easy in the corners, not put too much wheel in it, just back off the throttle, ease back into it. There are times you're not even full throttle around this racetrack. You just got to be easy and be able to work the throttle and save those tires. Oh, we got to move here, looking low.
Oh, contact! Up the racetrack goes Caleb Hall. Jackson Lewis fighting his way through. Caleb Hall going to try and come down the racetrack and get back to him. Not able to, as Joel Smith will fill that gap. But oh boy.
Actually, he was trying to show the nose there on the front straightaway, but he's not close enough to make anything happen. Contact more. Caleb Hall and Kendrick Cryer trying to hang on to that spot, get back to the bottom. Throwenberg right behind, but he is not for position. May let Caleb Hall in. We will see what will happen here as he's going to try to get back to the bottom and cross over Kendrick Cryer.
Hall finds the lane down there. Cryer shuts the door and block and bump and run. Down in turns 3 and 4. That's how you get it done on a short track. And Caleb Hall goes right back on through. That is for 5th spot. Cryer tries to get down in line. Hits the right rear of the 9 car. This is not over yet. The battle for 5th has gotten real spicy. And Cryer may make a move down here in turn 1. He's to the inside. And sure enough, there he goes on to the 5th spot by a nose.
This is allowing Doucette right behind Throwenberg to gain some ground and see if he can find a way around these two guys.
Oh, and he dumps him! Whether that was intentional or not, Kendrick Cryer, oh, what are you doing? Right down the racetrack into Blake Throwenberg. Now he comes back down the racetrack again. That's Mark Blessing right behind him. And it's definitely damaged. He's got some suspension damage. He's battling with it at this point. Dumped by Caleb Hall. Now Doucette going to try and handle the 9 car. Again, whether it was intentional or not, the end result is the 9 car very much turned the 66.
And here goes Caleb Hall once again back down to the bottom on Doucette. Tight pinching him right down to the yellow line. Doucette by a quarter panel. And they are still side by side with Throwenberg just sitting in the waiting for something to happen, as Dickinson is also 9 laps down out of this race. I did not see that.
Oh, blessing to the inside there of Cryer. That is good for 7th spot as these guys fight and finally finish up that fight. Doucette losing the battle with Caleb Hall. Up further ahead up the road, Jackson Lewis is having a much calmer time with Joel Smith. They are separated by about 4/10 or so on the racetrack, and we have gone right on by halfway. That really occupied a good bit of time there, Zach. Clicked off a few laps for us, and you can see the leaders have spread apart.
Absolutely. Ryan Kuhn has lost a lot of time to Landon Rapp. He's now 0.8 of a second back, and he does not seem to be closing. Now, this is something, honestly, I don't know if you've noticed it, Andrew, but we saw it at 5 Flags. Landon Rapp, if he's got a right setup in that car, he is extremely good on these long runs. He is able to get that car hooked up and drive away from the rest of the field.
We're certainly seeing it this evening as the 28 car is hooked up and rolling on rails. Zach, glad to have you this evening, as always. At least we try to make it as always here for the iRacing Cars Late Model Stocks presented by, I'm getting tongue-tied this evening with EPI, Elite Performance Industries, powered by the shop this season, and boy, has it made a difference for those guys. Joel Smith, Alex McCullum, and others reaping the benefits of that new partnership. Here, though, Landon Rapp leading the race. A big-time move early on, got to the inside of Ryan Kuhn, and I think you're going to have to do it early on Ryan at any point in this season. We've seen McCullum, we've seen Rapp sit behind Ryan Kuhn lap after lap after lap, and eventually Ryan finds some way to pull away. It's usually the midpoint of the race. He just starts putting a whooping on these guys, drives away, there's no catching him. You've got to make that pass early if you're going to make it at all.
Absolutely, and these guys are just so patient with each other. They're trying to find any sort of mistake that may happen, just be able to stick their nose in there. We saw a lot of battling going on already, and actually I believe Mark Blessing has gotten by Kendrick Cryer, now that I'm thinking about it a little bit. It was right on board with Ryan Kuhn there, just trying to find ways to be able to be patient and steady and move forward with these guys.
This is back here 8th, 9th, 10th on the racetrack. Cryer, Crow, and Boniface, and we saw, of course, Crow and Boniface involved in that opening crash. Here goes Justin Crow to the inside of Kendrick Cryer. Contact in one. They both hang on to it, but up the racetrack goes the 66 of Kendrick Cryer. He comes down now, nearly into the nose of Boniface in the right rear there of Crow. Oh, man.
Kendrick Cryer is not having a very good night here. More contact. A little bit of door banging with Matthew Boniface. Gonna slide him up the racetrack. A little bit of contact on the left rear, and Boniface will clear for the 9th place position. Kendrick Cryer, I'm not sure he's too happy with all these positions that he is losing tonight, as he looks to be losing another position here to Williamson.
Yeah, Chase Williamson closing in the number 11. At least 11 by iRating, 1 on the car. We have not seen much of Williamson. In fact, you can see we have some numbers on the ticker for some of these guys that are regular in the series. We don't have one for Doucette. We don't have one for Blessing. We don't have one yet for Boniface. But Boniface, Smith, they're definitely going to need one. Even Williamson. But we haven't seen much of him in Top Split this season. Of course, in case you're curious, in case you're new here to what we do on Monday nights, this is the Top Split of the first time slot of the week for iRacing Cars Late Model Stock Tour Racing, presented by Elite Performance Industries. So this is the top split, the top drivers in the land that signed up for this particular time slot at 8:15 Eastern on Monday night. It's the first one of the brand new week with a brand new track, this being Lanier. You can join these guys, or at least attempt to join these guys, by signing up for this race next week when we go to New Smyrna, and we'll talk more about the full schedule coming up here shortly. But one more lap clicked off there for Landon Rapp, and you know, Zach, this is now a very big Legends track. We're seeing more and more Legends racing here every single year as Legends of Georgia get reinvigorated, I'd say. This could be part of why Landon's so good tonight.
Absolutely. The Legend cars down in Atlanta and Georgia have just been so great right now. You saw the schedules being posted out early on this year, and a lot of these guys are running more races at Atlanta, more races at Lanier. A lot of great short tracks around the area, and I'm just happy to see a lot more commitment being shown in the short track community, especially to a track like Lanier, which has hosted Legends, late models, drift events now. You can actually see right here on the speed shots and everything, there's a lot of grass in a pit lane down there. That's not at Lanier anymore. It is all asphalt on the infield.
Worth mentioning, Landon Rapp not the only current Legend Car driver in the field. Of course, if we had McCullum, he'd be one to highlight, but Joel Smith forging himself a pretty solid and already pretty decorated Legend Car career in U.S. Legend Car and NX racing competition. Of course, going after summer shootout races, won a bunch last year, now up to pro class in all of Legend Racing, and going for that championship this season if he's able to do so. Really solid what this kid is able to be doing at this point in his life. Still very, very young, one of the youngest pro drivers we've ever seen in Legend Car Racing, and is off to one heck of a start as a whole for his Legend Car career. We've got 5 laps to go this next time by. Landon Rapp out front leading, and he is no stranger to lap traffic. He sees it sometimes at summer shootout as well, and boy, is this going to be one heck of a knot to untie. This is going to be difficult.
Hey, would you believe me if I'm running in pro this year at the summer shootout?
Well, that would be interesting. That'd be really cool if you could. Are you?
Oh, still in semi-pro. Just a little fun. We got to have the fun on the broadcast, you know? When you got a car out front that's so dominant like Landon Rapp, we got to poke a little bit of fun as we come up on 3 to go.
3 laps to go this time by. Kendrick Cryer in this fight right in front of a race leader, racing side by side with Kyle Turzak, who was involved in that opening crash. Turzak down low, Cryer up top. Cryer's going to come down the track maybe, and Turzak makes some room for our race leader. They settle it nicely as they are still interlocked in a battle in 1 and 2 this time. 2 laps to go. Last time by 1.5 laps to go there. And we got Justin Crow and Mark Blessing also fighting as, here we go, Landon Rapp up out of turn 4. 1 lap to go as they door bang behind.
So hard to let the leader by while you're trying to fight for position as they are going all out. Loose on the apron as Landon Rapp comes through 3 and 4. We are 3 wide.
And the white flag presented by Whiplash Simcams goes quickly to driver 28. Jackson Lewis nearly ruffled up the 72 there on the final lap. Nearly got him for position. Everybody comes across the line to wrap up 60 here at Lanier. And Landon Rapp victorious in the 28 car. Not his first win of the season ever, but his first win in SOF racing here on Pit Stop TV. Presented by Whiplash. Well, yes, Whiplash Simcams, but presented by Elite Performance Industries. It has been a rough day, that is for sure. But there you go. A big-time W for car number 2 in the session, 28 on the door. Landon, I think, is going to enjoy that one.
Absolutely. Just a dominating performance. And, you know, not something we see too often. A clean move on Ryan Kuhn to get him up the racetrack and get that spot away from him. Just amazing to see, really. You would expect to see a bump and run. You really would. But Landon Rapp is going to walk away with a 2.9 second lead over Ryan Kuhn. Jackson Lewis rounding in 3rd and Joel Smith in the 4th position. Just 4/10 off of Jackson Lewis. Ryan Duche in the 5th place position. Number 5 in P5. Caleb Hall 6th. Justin Crow in 7th position. Mark Blessing will take 8th after being involved in that lap 1 incident. Matthew Boniface in P9. And Chase Williamson, your first car a lap down, rounding out your top 10 positions. Moving down, we have Kyle Turzak and Kendrick Cryer, who lost so many spots after getting involved in that smash 'em up Cuffman out of turn 4. James Jackson, your last car to finish 1 lap down on the 13th position. Blake Throwenberg ended up 3 laps down after the fast pair. And then Spencer Dickinson, after 11 laps of racing, parked that car on pit road, and we did not see him the remainder of the race.
Some early troubles there for some of these guys, but a lot of them able to soldier on, even Throneberg. 3 laps down, sure, a rough night for him, but glad he was at least able to finish and take some extra laps, I guess, that should hope nullify any safety rating loss. That would be the hope, certainly, for car 22. It was a fun one this evening here at Lanier. The newly renamed, by the way, no longer Lanier Raceplex, but newly renamed Caffeine and Octane's Lanier Raceway, and that's going to take a lot of getting used to, but good to see some reinvestment here in short track racing, and it's more so as a multi-use facility. They've now got an RC track, they host Cars and Coffee, of course, Caffeine and Octane, coffee, caffeine, Cars, Octane. Does that make sense? Hopefully you get the connection there. So Cars and Coffee style events using the facility as a multi-use facility. It's working. It's bringing Lanier, I think, back into the forefront of at least some people's minds, a lot more people's minds than just on iRacing, and that is important, seeing Lanier kind of regrow here in the real world. It was a hot one this evening. Landon Rapp takes a hotly contested win, at least early hotly contested. The rest of the field, man, I didn't know they were going to sort it out at any point in time, but sure enough, after 60 laps, they get it all said and done. And Zach, That means we can look forward. Next up on the list, New Smyrna next week, and that is a weird track for late model stocks.
Absolutely. You usually see super late models running there, or even pro late models, but not late model stock cars. They usually stay around the areas of the Tennessee area, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia. So New Smyrna is just a weird track on the schedule. If you ask me, Nashville, something a little more common for late model stock cars. Not the most common in the world, but a little more common than New Smyrna. And then USA International Speedway right up there as the last track on the schedule. I am excited to see how this all plays out.
Definitely some very interesting tracks remaining. We've seen a really, really fun season so far. South Boston, North Wilkesboro, Las Vegas, Five Flags, Langley, Southern National, Martinsville, Hickory last week, and Lanier tonight, and the rest of this week. Going to shake things up, I think, for sure, in this season. We talked about the standings at the top of the show. Let's bring them back up and see at least where we entered the night at. Alex McCullum up top, Ryan Kuhn back by 27 markers, and that's going to flip, but it's not max points for Ryan Kuhn. It's interesting. Of course, he's going to run probably 30 more races this week or something like that, so he's going to bring that average up and try to get it as close to perfect as possible. But starting out one position short, and usually it's to Alex McCullum. This week it's not. McCullum not even in top split. He's going to have to run the rest of the races this week, or at least some of the rest of the races this week to try and get his points for the week, or treat it as a drop. These guys will now start having drops figured in beginning next week at New Smyrna, and that's going to completely change this picture. You're going to see guys like Landon Rapp really get a whole lot closer, especially with this win tonight, Zach. Landon Rapp is going to shoot up. That 370-point deficit is going to be halved probably somewhere around there, and maybe not in the territory of going for either of the top two spots in the championship, but he's at least going to be a whole lot closer.
Absolutely. It's so, I don't know the word exactly how to put it, but it's just, you run in the bottom splits, and the points you get are not as good as what you can get in something like top split. So for Alex McCullum to not be in top split, it is going to hurt him so much. But Landon Rapp to win this race, to get up there, to be able to run competitively and just take away valuable points for guys like Ryan Kuhn, Alex McCullum, Daniel Folds, it's going to do dividends for his championship moving forward with only a few weeks left in the season.
Well, thanks for joining us here at Pit Stop TV this evening. We certainly do appreciate it. Let's check out our upcoming broadcasts on the channel. Tomorrow night, more late model stock racing. Don't leave just yet. We've got more coming tomorrow night about 9:15 Eastern. We'll kind of see when we need to go live, and there will be an announcement made tomorrow. Of course, on our social media channels, you can see down below, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We post all of our social media updates to all three. Wednesday, we go, well, actually, I'll touch more up on Tuesday. We've got the D-Line Racing League starting their brand new season, 12 points races brought to you by Elevated Performance. And quite frankly, Zach, I've never seen a league setup quite like this. They're running 12 races. They're splitting each race night, except for one, I believe, into a 30-lap heat or thereabouts. Some will change. I'm sorry, except for two, because they are doing a road course race. Yes, late model stocks on a road course. I'll get to that in a moment. But they are running 30-lap heats for the most part. It might vary per track, but right around 30 laps. And then a 50-lap feature event. And it's basically, the full field runs both. So it's kind of like twins. A 30-lap and then 50-lap twin, and there's an invert of the top six in the middle, and the whole time they're doing this, there's no damage.
I don't know what to say, honestly, Andrew.
It's going to be fun.
It's so interesting. I'm so, like I said last night on the Butt Kicker Racing Series broadcast, it's such an interesting way to set this thing up.
It's very esport to me.
No, nothing.
It's very esport to me. It's a bunch of guys that just want to go out and have fun, and they're embracing that. No damage in oval racing. They can ping pong off each other and have a whole bunch of fun. I think we're going to see 3-4 wide tomorrow night at South Boston, and we may only have a field of 10 or 15 cars. So these guys are going to be going lights out, I'd say for sure. And we've got some very talented road racers making their transition over to oval. And for the roundy rounds, as they call them, over at D-Line, it's going to be a little interesting. I'm really excited to get that season going. Really excited that David Levine and Zach Shucker are finally getting this series on Pit Stop TV. I'm very, very much looking forward to it. But then Wednesday, May 10th, we go to Charlotte Motor Speedway, home to a lot of us, that's for sure, for the UFL Elite Series season finale. We've got Ryan Vargas going for the championship along with Matt Kemp, I got to think about this. Matt Kemp, Zach Nichols, and Brian Mercurio. 4 really talented race car drivers on and off the sim. In the case of Ryan Vargas, I'm very much looking forward to that championship finale. And then Thursday, we go to Barber Motorsports Park, not too far, actually, here from Lanier, for the May 11th showdown of round number 3 for the North American Racing League at 8:30 Eastern. Amateur race first, pro race second. That is going to be more than exciting. I'm very much looking forward to those guys dueling it out at Barber. A really technical racetrack, a lot of elevation change, a lot of sweeping corners, a lot of fun, especially in that Porsche Cup car, Zach. We're in for a good one this week.
Absolutely. Those Porsche Cup cars just so amazing. They don't have ABS, right?
No, they don't. That's what makes them so much fun. Limited driver, driver aids. Limited driver aids for these guys to work with. Makes it a lot of fun in the Porsche Cup cars. But
big test of ability.
Yes, absolutely. Make sure to follow along with social media everywhere, it seems like these days. 6 different platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Kick now. And we broadcasted this evening to all but Instagram. And you know what, Zach? We could even do that. With the right partner, if the right partner wanted to get involved, we could stream to Instagram as well. We could do all 6 of them. Wouldn't that be something? But right now, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and now Kick added to our repertoire. A whole lot of fun here at Pit.TV. Expanding every day, it feels like. New leagues here, new leagues there, new platforms here, new platforms there. Always something going on here at Pit.TV. It has been a pleasure as always. A big thank you, of course, to Tyler Payne and everybody over at Elite Performance Industries, powered by The Shop. They have put together an amazing season of short track racing. It seems like 80, 90, 100, 110 wins every single week, and they just keep forging new history for their team and program. But that is it for us this evening at Caffeine and Octane's Lanier Raceway. Gotta get used to that one. We will see you next time, but before you go, make sure to check out our those who make it happen for us, behind the scenes, I should say, our credits, if you will, in audio, ATVO, Whiplash Media, SimCams, OBS, and iRacing.com, and we will see you next time tomorrow night for the D-Line Racing League from South Boston.